Alright folks, welcome back to the channel. This is not the video I planned on doing today. I planned on doing a paddling video today, but that got scratched. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But today's video I'm going to do the answer to the survey questions that I've recently put in the front of my videos. And I did 5 survey questions. I'm going to give the results of that survey and what my choice out of that survey was. So follow along. Folks, you can see I'm on my site here in Inlet, which I consider the center of the Adirondacks, and it has not been a very good day. I got up this morning and it was 40 degrees, not unheard of in the summertime in the Adirondacks, not unheard of. But I came out to my truck and I swear it was spitting snow, rain, mix. I was on the windshield. It looked like the snow was hitting the windshield and then melting. So I was like, oh, this might not be a good day paddling, but I'm going to go try it and check it out anyways. So I went down to 4th Lake, pulled into the boat launch, and the lady from the DEC is standing there looking at me going, and I wheeled around there and I'm like, yeah, looks treacherous out there. And she goes, it is. 2 to 4 foot waves on 4th Lake today. And I said, well, maybe I'll go check out another lake. And she says, a lot of the lakes are being affected by the winds. And I'm like, really? And if you stood on the edge of 4th Lake, the wind coming off 4th Lake just bit right into you. And I jokingly said, I'm surprised it's not snowing yet. And she says, there's a chance of snow squalls on the water today. June 18th. I got a jacket on. I've got my sweats on. It is June 18th. It is 42 degrees right now. That's been the high for the day today. It's been raining. The wind is coming up and on where I am, but if you go down to 4th Lake, it is a constant, hard, cold wind coming off that lake. So my paddling got scratched for today, and I've been meaning to do this video for a while because I put some survey questions in front of some videos I recently put out, 5 of them, and I'm going to give the results of that survey today in this video and tell you the story about how I came up with those questions, because I said they all have happened to me camping, and I've been camping for a long time. I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of funny stuff. I've seen a lot of bad stuff. I've seen some weird stuff, heard weird stuff. I've had animal encounters, I've had people encounters, you name it. But let's get into the survey questions. This is survey question number 1. Alright folks, before we get in the video, it's survey time. You're at a campground, you have a site like this one behind me. What annoys you the most? A, barking dogs, or B, a generator running? Put your answer down in the comments below. So survey question, would you rather have neighbors that have a barking dog or a generator? And I probably should have elaborated a little bit on the generator. Experienced RVers are going to have an inverter generator. Inverter generator is better for the electronics on your camper. They're quieter, and they normally have the eco mode on them that they can run for longer periods of time. Only rem up when you need more power, and then they go back down. This one though, I kind of meant a generator that has an open frame. I had a neighbor that they were in a pop-up. They had an old Craftsman open frame generator that was loud, and they put a refrigerator. They had a little refrigerator that they put on the table in front of their camper, and they would run that generator all day long. I hated it. But I tell you what I hated even more is barking dogs. Barking dogs, I hate it when people bring their dogs camping with them and they tie them up to the camper and then they go out and do stuff and that dog sits there and just barks all day long. Or gets put in their camper and barks all day long. So the predominant answer that you guys gave was barking dogs, and I agree, barking dogs is the one that I hate the most. Dogs do bark, you know, if they're controlled, you know, but a dog that barks all day long because their owners tied them up to the camper and left, that I hate the most. So question number 2 on the survey was, all right folks, survey time. You're out camping, campsite like this one here. Do you prefer the premium sites on the water where everyone is packed together, or do you prefer to be on a loop far away where there's less people? Would I rather camp, have a site on the water or a site away from people? Well, let me see if this will answer that question for me. I am currently on Campsite Road here in Inlet, and there is no water nearby. Do you see any people nearby? Nope. I guess that answers that question. I used to like the water sites, but what I hated about them was the fact that they packed so many people into these sites that it got absolutely terrible to be there, because you had people coming through your sites, you could hear every conversation, you could hear things, kids screaming, and that stuff doesn't necessarily bother me, but when I go camping, I like to get away from things, and this is where I like to camp. So, camping away from people is the number one choice. You guys answered it the same way. There's a few of you that said I like the water sites, but I like camping away from people. Oh, here comes that wind. Camping away from people more. So, yeah, I like camping away from people more too. I'm a people person. I've always been a people person. I enjoy good conversations. I enjoy good neighbors, but I like these type of sites the best. So let's go on to survey question number 3. All right, folks, survey time. And these surveys that I'm going to put in the front of a few of my videos are actual events that has happened to me on some of these survey questions. So this is a simple one. You're out at camping. Do you prefer a campsite that has water and electric and sewer, or a campsite that has none of that, and you have to rely on your solar or your generator? Put your answers down in the comments below. Question number 3. Do I like full hookups or boondocking? Well, the last survey question about camping away from people, these type of sites right here tend to come with nothing with them. There's no electric, there's no water, there's no sewer. So I am a boondocker. I love boondocking. I've always liked the ability to be self-sufficient. I have preparation videos that, you know, being self-sufficient. Help yourself out when you are, disaster strikes, make sure you can rely on yourself before you rely on anyone else. Anyways, these type of sites here are boondocking sites. These are the sites that I like. Full hookups are nice. Having electricity at your fingertips are very nice, but they tend to be site, and you know what? When I go camping with people, they like electricity. They like those full hookup sites. I will get a full hookup site with them. It doesn't bother me. They tend to be more expensive. There's a campground now in Adirondacks that is charging almost $180 a night to be there, and that's full hookups. I don't think any campground is worth $180 a night. But anyways, Sites like this tend to be free or very low cost, anywhere from $10 to $20 a night. So I'm a boondocker. I love my boondocking. I've put money into so I can be boondocking. I've always, when I put my system together here, my panels, my solar panels, my batteries, I spent $1,050 on that system back in 2017. Before that, I was dabbling in it. I would buy panels from Harbor Freight and cheap batteries, and I just finally woke up and said, you know what? In order for this to work and be not frustrating, I have to invest something into it. And to make it fun and to make it where you have power and you have stuff that you can rely on, you have to invest some money into it. So if you are a boondocker or starting out, my advice to you is to buy the quality items, buy the batteries. My batteries were $150 a piece. There's 2 of them. My solar panels were $750. I had to get the extended line for it because they're portable system. And but anyways, I love boondocking. I do it probably 85% of the time. Other than when I go meet people, if it's full hookups, it's full hookups. But I like boondocking. So survey question number 4. If you are camping at a campground and there are different loops all the way around the campground and you're the only one in your loop and generators are supposed to be shut off at 7 p.m. Do you shut it off at 7 p.m. or do you cheat a little bit? Because who are you disturbing? Because you're the only one here. The survey question number 4 is got a lot of response on this one. Do you shut your generator off at 7 o'clock or do you cheat sometimes and run it past 7 if you can? So the only reason I asked this one is because last year I was out for, what was it, 13 days I was out, and day 10 my battery system tripped out on me, and it was because I was in so much coverage, leaf coverage, tree just blocked my solar. I spent 4 days in Warrensburg, 4 days at Taylor Pond, and 4 days at Buck Pond, and my batteries just said, yeah, you're using more power than what we're getting, and it took 10 days to get to that step. So I had to run my generator more on that trip towards the end, which was occasionally I had to cheat past 7 o'clock. Now, there was one time I can tell you that I got up, I was in the camper, it was a rainy night, and it wasn't cold, but it was a rainy night, and I decided, you know what, it's like 9:45. I'm going to pop some popcorn, but I'm not going to do it on the stove. I'm just going to throw some in the microwave. And I went out, started the generator, ran the microwave for, 2 minutes to pop some popcorn, then I went back out and shut the generator off. So I have ran it past hours. The predominant answer that you guys gave was you shut off by 7 for the generator hours. A few of you said that, yeah, I've cheated a few times. But one of the main things was I was in the loop by myself where that was happening. And right now, if I run my Honda, is it going to disturb anybody? I mean, really, is it going to disturb anybody? There's nobody here. That's a campsite there. There's a campsite over there. There's another one over there. And there's one through these trees way over there. Is it going to bother anyone if I run my generator? Because the other day I started up to make coffee, and I walked over there. You can't see it, but walked over there. There is a place to get some water over there, and when I was over there I couldn't hear my generator running at all. So the times that I do run my generator is when I get up in the morning. I run my generator to make my coffee and my bagel, toast my bagel. I cook 2 eggs and a couple strips of bacon, and I make a bagel breakfast sandwich. And I can make my coffee on the stove, and I can probably toast my bagel on the stove, but I chose not to. I like my toaster. I like my Mr. Coffee. So I have cheated a few times. The predominant answer that you guys put down was you normally 90% of you said you shut your generator off by when you're supposed to. There was a handful of you that said I do it almost all the time, shut my generator off, but there's been a few times I've cheated, and I'm that way too. So the final survey question is, you're out camping. Would you rather have neighbors that are A, loud, drunk, obnoxious, use the F-bomb every other word, and as they get more drunk, they fight more? Or B, quiet, respectful neighbors who don't close their blinds and you see everything? This was my favorite survey question. That's why I waited to the last to share it. Would you rather have loud, obnoxious, drunk neighbors, or nice, great neighbors that don't close their blinds and you see everything? So the story on this is, I was at a campground in northern Adirondacks, and this camper came in, this old camper being pulled by an old Dodge Ram, early 90s Dodge Ram, rusted out, no muffler. You knew immediately. You know immediately. Oh, this is not going to be good. They backed in next door to me, and she's yelling and he's yelling because they're having a hard time backing the camper in. And when she talked, it was like she yelled all the time. She was just talked loud. You know what I'm talking about because you've met people like that. Everybody's met somebody like that when they talk, it's just loud. It just kind of pierces your brain. So that's what she was. And they drank, they smoked cigarettes, and they smoked marijuana. And this was back before it was legal in New York. And I don't, if that's what they wanted to do, that's fine, as long as they're not driving down the road. But they drank, they smoked their dope, and as the day progressed, they got louder and louder, and then they started swearing at each other, he's calling her a bitch. Every other word out of her mouth is the F-bomb, and it's just going on, and it goes all the way, plus they had music blaring, because they're yelling about the music now, and it goes all the way until about 10 o'clock at night when they pass out. Yeah, I absolutely hated that. The other side of that question was, true story I met a couple. I was in a campground, and it was one of those campgrounds where our sites were pretty close to each other. And I was already there one night. They came in, they rented a motorhome, and I helped them back it in, got them all situated. Nice couple. They were probably early 30s maybe, and nice couple. They were from downstate. I want to say they were from Binghamton area, and they were coming up through the Adirondacks, going into northern Vermont, and then coming down through Vermont, crossing back over, going to Lake George, and then back down to Binghamton. Nice little trip. They rented this RV, and I'm not sure they were all that familiar with how RVs are. But anyways, that first night, I had a fire going. They actually came over, and we had a few beers together, and we chatted, and that's when I learned about the trip, and learned that they were renting the RV and everything. But then they went in, and I'm sitting out by my fire. They went in, turned the TV on. They were watching TV in there for a little while. But then when they went to go to bed, the bedroom was in the back of the motorhome, which was about equal to my camper. And I'm sitting out here. The lights turn on in the bedroom. They never pulled the blinds, and they got undressed completely. And I'm thinking, I wonder if they know that people can see them. Now, on a typical RV, there is tinted windows. Like this is in my bedroom here. You can't see in there right now because the tinted windows. My thinking is that since they couldn't see in there during the day, they're thinking that maybe you couldn't see in there at all. and maybe that's why they never pulled the blinds. My other thought is that the blinds in these have the little valance boxes that go around and are tucked up into those boxes, that maybe they didn't even know the blinds were there. And typically on RVs, if you come around to this side, is where all the windows are. And you look on my rig, I got bigger windows on this side than I do on the other side. Only got like 2 little windows on the other side. Well, anyways, yeah, for 2 nights, that's what happened. Did I tell them? I did not tell them. I did not tell them. I wasn't sure if they knew, if they didn't care, I don't know. I really don't know. It's one of those conversations that, you know, do I all of a sudden say, hey, do you guys know that when you go in the bedroom at night and get undressed that I can see you? Are you gonna, I don't know. I could have had that conversation with them. I didn't really know them all that well, but it's one of those things that you see sometimes in camping. And I'll tell you, I've camped for a lot of years. 26 years I've owned a camper, and I tent camped before that. I even made a tent out of a tarp in college where I could sleep on a picnic table and strap the tarp to the legs of the picnic table, and that was my tent. I did that in college, yes. But over the years camping, I have seen a lot of things. I have heard a lot of things. I've seen the good. I've seen the funny. I've seen the terrible. I've seen disgusting things. I've seen things that surprise you. I've seen some pretty neat things. It's when you go camping, that's the way it is. But the answer that you guys predominantly gave on that was you would take the neighbors. 99% of you said you'd take the neighbors, the nice neighbors that don't close their blinds and you see everything. Most of you said it's a free show. Some of you said if you don't want to watch, you don't have to. You can look away. And it basically was they were just getting dressed and then they went to bed, or getting undressed and then they went to bed. So, yeah, the things you see when you go camping. But those were the survey questions that I put out in recent videos, and I said those are things that has actually happened to me. I may come up with some more questions on that, and we are getting a little bit of sun now, but it's still cold. It's still 42 degrees. My camper, I do have heat in my camper if I need it. It's supposed to be colder tonight than it was last night, so if I woke up this morning and it was 40, I imagine it might have touched down into high 38, 39 degrees overnight. Tonight it's supposed to be colder. It's supposed to be down 36, I think is what they're calling for the low tonight. So if they're calling for a low of 36, it actually up here might get down even below that. So, but I'm all good here. I have a heater. I have my little buddy heater inside the camper if I need it. Hopefully I won't. Hopefully tomorrow I can get rid of the jacket and the pants. But that is my answers to the survey questions. Those are the answers that you guys gave to the survey questions. And hopefully tomorrow I can get back out and make another video paddling or some sort of adventure. Alright folks, you watched all the way through. Thanks for that. If you liked the video, make sure to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button down below. Continue to follow the adventure. And remember, folks, tomorrow is no guarantee for any one of us. So disconnect from that Wi-Fi, connect to this out here. You won't be disappointed.